Hi everybody, happy new year, happy 2022. We're glad to be in 2022. We really thank God. It's such a blessing to see a new year and to have new goals. Have you set new goals for yourself? I'm glad to be here. I'm Evermwende Ikandi, Evermwende. My YouTube channel name changed to Evermwende Ikandi, so when you're searching for it, you can check it out. But mostly it changed to Let's Heal with Evermwende Ikandi. Let's heal emotionally. Let's heal mentally. This channel is all about healing and healing and healing. Let's heal together. So this year we're going to heal from those wounds we've been, the wounds we've had over years. The trauma, the repressed pain, the emotional agony we're going through silently. We're going to heal. This year you have no option but heal. So let's heal and heal and heal. Let's Heal with Evermwende Ikandi. That's the new name of my YouTube channel. I'm a psychotherapist. I'm a mother of 5, a businesswoman, and I also sing. Kiasi, I sing a bit. Yes, so that's a bit of who I am. So once in a while, I'll upload my songs in this YouTube channel, stories, and also psychoeducative topics. I pick topics that are psychological in nature, of course, based on things happening around us. Then we give it a psychological perspective and a bit of spiritual perspective, yes? Because sometimes psychology goes hand in hand with spirituality, although psychology says that you need to turn to the higher power of your own understanding. It's important. A healthy person is spiritual enough, is in touch with the higher power of their own understanding. So can I introduce this week's topic? Unconditional positive regard, unconditional acceptance, unconditional love. Have you ever been loved unconditionally? Not by a lover. Si mpenzi. Talk of your parents, talk of a friend, talk of your acquaintances, your colleagues, someone you're not bound to by love. Because in most cases, when we have a romantic relationship with somebody, we are forced to unconditionally love them. But think of your family. Does it love you unconditionally? Do your friends love you unconditionally? But above all, do you appreciate yourself? Do you love yourself unconditionally? These are psychological concepts by one of the fathers of psychotherapy called Carl Rogers. Carl Rogers believed in self-actualization, helping people to find their potential through helping them in appreciating their self-worth. Carl Rogers believed in according people unconditional positive regard so that they realize their full potential. That means accepting people the way they are without judging them, without putting pressure on them, without demanding that they comply to your standards. You just accept them as they are. Of course, that's a very hard thing to do for most of us. We can't just love people unconditionally. It's very easy to find ourselves putting pressure on people that I will only deal with you if you do 1, 2, 3. I will only give you this if you give me this in return. I will only reward you if you act according to my desire or meet my standards. That's what we live by every day. People putting conditions for us, people putting pressure on us, but Carl Rogers encouraged us to appreciate people unconditionally, to accept them unconditionally. And that gives room for change and growth. That's according to Carl Rogers. I don't know what you think about this topic. Do you think unconditional acceptance, unconditional love will help? Or does it help our society? Does it help us in any way? Does it help in our interactions? Just loving people the way they are, with their faults, with their shortcomings, with their weaknesses, as in not having to deal with them because they are perfect. You don't associate with them because they are so perfect. You appreciate them. Their shortcomings notwithstanding, their weaknesses notwithstanding, you overlook. Are you able to overlook people's weaknesses? Are you able to overlook people's negative attributes and just deal with them the way they are? It's not easy. Actually, it's one of the core values of counseling. Any counselor, any psychotherapist in practice has a way of finding this value inculcated in them as part of their practice. Because as we practice as counselors and psychologists, psychotherapists in general, it's very easy. I mean, we come across different personalities, we come across different characteristics of people and personality traits. And you cannot handle people from different walks of life if you don't have unconditional positive regard, unconditional positive acceptance, unconditional positive regard. You don't put pressure on people. You don't tell them, I'll only see you for therapy if you come dressed up like 1, 2, 3. Yet they're in distress. They don't even have time to go change their clothing. You just counsel them the way they are. There are times somebody will come for therapy and they have this body odor that's so disturbing. So you cannot, as a counselor, there's no going to just be holding your nose as you counsel this person. You're not showing them unconditional acceptance. So as a counselor, you can imagine you just need a very big heart. So if you're aspiring to be a therapist or a psychotherapist, or you just want to be a peer counselor among your peers, you just need to inculcate this within you. Unconditional acceptance. You accept people the way they are, whether they are failures, whether they are misfits in the society, whether they are outcasts, whether they are branded and labeled criminals, whatever tag is on them, you treat them regardless of the tags and the labels. And wakubali tu vile walivyo. That's what unconditional acceptance is all about. But it's not only applicable to counselors and psychotherapists. Unconditional positive regard or unconditional acceptance is to me, I think it's a virtue we need to apply. It's a virtue we need to work with in 2022. 2021, we saw so many people die of depression. We saw so many people die of suicide. Checking into their details, you'll find that maybe they had one very challenging encounter that they just couldn't handle. And maybe the people around them couldn't handle them with the failure they faced. Somebody around them could not handle them with the heartbreak they had faced. Somebody around them could not handle them with the maybe losses they had made. And that's why they just decided to take away their lives, because nobody accepted that person unconditionally. Look at a person who is fired from their job. They lose a lot of significant things in their lives, They don't even have the basic things. Someone even lacks food. Someone lacks, basics, and they go begging around. And this is somebody maybe who was used to earning a lot of money. You can imagine the ridicule they might go through that pushes them to depression. And eventually, because we are living in a society where people just don't care, the person gives up and decides to just kill themselves because nobody really cares. But assuming we accepted the people around us unconditionally, whether they have the money they had before, whether they look as beautiful. I mean, somebody might look different from the way they looked when they were working, because they had the money to dress up well, they had the money to buy the makeup, but suddenly the looks are no more there. How will you treat somebody who has changed physically? Will you just treat them unconditionally and accept them? It's not easy. But I challenge us as Kenyans, as humanity, let's try to accept people just the way they are, with their weaknesses, with their challenges, with their shortcomings. It's not easy, but let's try this year. This is how unconditional positive acceptance looks like in a family. A child who is performing so well in school knows that the parents appreciate them better when they perform better, when they perform well. What happens to this child when they drop in their school progress? As a parent, do you still accept that child? Do you treat them well? When you have unconditional positive acceptance or positive regard, it's not about the achievements. You don't look at this person like, because you didn't achieve this, I will not feed you as my child. Because you did not become number 1 in class, I will not clothe you. I will not feed you. I will not take you to places. As a parent, that is what you do. You don't give unconditional positive acceptance. You don't give unconditional acceptance, unconditional love. If your children have to perform so well, both at school and around you, if your children have to walk on eggshells to please you or to get their basic needs, to get what they deserve from you, then you're not according them unconditional positive regard. unconditional positive acceptance, unconditional positive love. So you can imagine these children, once they leave your house, go out there and interact with their peers who accept them unconditionally. They will not love home. These are children who will fall into peer pressure because their peers accept them unconditionally. Not because they performed well, not because they dressed well, not because they performed their house chores you gave them. Their peers accept them unconditionally. In a marriage or a relationship setting, how does unconditional positive regard look like? Unconditional acceptance. We are relating, we are married. Has anything changed? I still accept you, regardless of your financial status, regardless of how your physical appearance has changed. I mean, your body might have, of course, with time they stay unaware of our bodies. I mean, how do you look 5 years down the line after the marriage? You see, I think the reason why we have a lot of mpango wa kando and bentens is because people are no longer accepting their spouses and their partners unconditionally. Mama Toto has got many babies, 3, 4 babies, even two babies. The body is no longer the same. The soldiers fall. Matete zinaanguka. How do you look at this woman? Do you appreciate her? Again, still, do you appreciate her unconditionally, whether her body is still that size 8? Unconditional acceptance is what we need in our society this year. 2022. May God give us accepting people unconditionally. How does unconditional acceptance look like in our relationships, our friendships? In the first place, what bound you together as friends? What do you share in common as friends? Are you friends because you have a job, you share a common job? Are you friends because you share a common neighborhood? What happens when that job is normal? What happens when one of your friends cannot afford the neighborhood they live in, the houses they live in? Will you still accept them when they go to a ghetto? You see, when friends no longer accept you because your status has changed, it's devastating. When people no longer accept you because maybe you have been labeled, maybe you're caught up in a scandal, could be guilty or not, people change. They no longer treat you as they used to. And then we live in a very transactional society where you give me, I give you. Like, what can I benefit from you? How can I gain from you? So the moment I stop gaining from you, I'm no longer your friend. The moment I stop gaining from you, I no longer accept you anyhow. So I think we need to look at the basis of our interactions right from the beginning. How maybe you need to rearrange your friendships altogether. I need to get good friends, new friends, who it's no longer about what you have. It's no longer about how you look. It's no longer about the place, the joints we hang out. It's no longer about our neighborhood. It's just about us accepting ourselves as humanity, because we need each other. We need each other. Has somebody ever accepted you in your lowest moments? Has somebody ever accepted you at a time when you expected to be rejected? Maybe several people had rejected you severally. Maybe several people had written you out, but one person out of all these just wakes up and appreciates you. How did it feel? I had one such experience while doing my counseling psychology degree, bachelor's degree. I had a traumatic experience that had caught me up with some sect people. And this to me was a dark secret. I couldn't just talk about it to anybody, because even associating yourself with this particular sect, you look like this weirdo, this kind of person that has a lot to be desired. So anyway, I went to in a social setting. I never talked about that thing. I never talked about my affiliation to this ex-leader who we had a relationship at some point, a very brief relationship that left me with a baby. So I remember going to class wondering, what if people get to know about this relationship? Will I be chased out of class? What will happen? So I remember one of my lecturers, I'll never forget, Madam Agnes Ntangi. I don't know where she is today, but she's one of my pillars, my mentors in counseling psychology. She was the head of department at Mount Kenya University. One time I was devastated. I was very disoriented about this experience, and I approached her. But I was so afraid of being, maybe if she was the head of the psychology department, I would have expected to be chased out of class or something. So I just told her, I've had this experience and I'm so scared that these people could be following me around even in school, in campus. And she gave me this unconditional, positive, unconditional acceptance. She listened to me. And I was like, you're not chasing me out of school? You don't see me weird? You don't see me like not deserving of this class? And, there was this encouragement. She encouraged me. She even helped me explore options. In fact, I remember it's from there that I decided to change, to transfer from one campus to another. I mean, I have never felt that warmth. Within that period, I was going through that experience with the sect people. I'd never been accepted unconditionally. I'd never been so appreciated. In fact, it grounded me so strongly in counseling psychology to date, and it gave me reasons to appreciate people unconditionally. Because I don't know what they're struggling with. I don't know where they're coming from. And I think it goes without saying that to whom much has been given, much is expected. And no wonder people who are appreciated unconditionally don't find it hard appreciating other people unconditionally. If you have ever been loved unconditionally, you will not find it a challenge loving other people unconditionally. If you have never been treated unconditionally, and you suddenly find this person who treats you just like, yeah, I love you the way you are, you will always suspect that they are up to something fishy. Yeah. I've also worked with a few recovering addicts, and these are people who have been rejected in their families. They have been written off by their families. But their family, I think, is a common ground of rejection. Family, yes. And these people tend to have a wall around them, like mshani kata. So what? So the moment you treat them so differently from everybody who rejects them, they look at you like, unataka nini kwangu? Mbona unanitreat poa hivyo? So it also takes time for you to win their trust, that you're really interested in their well-being, you're interested in their recovery. And I'm glad with time it's an art I've mastered of just according them unconditional positive regard, unconditional acceptance, unconditional love. But as I finish, let me say this. Unconditional love is not all permissive. Unconditional acceptance is not all permissive. We don't say because we accept you unconditionally, you can continue messing around. You can continue in your addictive behavior. You can continue in your bad or malpractices. No. Actually, unconditional acceptance means I will support you, but I will not punish you for your wrongs. I will correct you, but I will also correct you, giving you options of what to change to from this maladaptive pattern you had. So unconditional acceptance is not all permissive. It does not mean because I accept you unconditionally, come walk all over me, come continue misbehaving, come continue doing bad, come continue hurting other people. No. Unconditional positive acceptance means I accept you, yes, but I also wish that you become better for yourself, not for me. No. I love you the way you are, but I would love you better, and you would feel better if you improved on a few things, if you worked on a few things. You would also feel better about yourself. Remember, most of the people who have not been accepted unconditionally suffer from a low self-esteem. Hawajipendi. They don't value themselves. So once you're able to tell this person, yes, I love you the way you are, but I wish you worked on this area of your life to be a better person. For yourself, you'll feel better about yourself. For example, I'll tell some of my substance users recovery, yeah, you're good, I love you the way you are, but that smell, that body odor, don't you think you'd smell better, you'd be accepted better by your peers if you just went and showered and changed clothes? Then I think like, yeah, come to think of it. So unconditional acceptance is not all permissive. It does not mean people should misbehave all around us. Does not mean they should walk all over us and just have their way. No, it's not permissive. But it's all about support and not punishing. Actually, we say in counseling that it's more you support, you challenge, but you also support. You challenge a behavior, at the same time you support this person. Unconditional acceptance means tough love. You know, tough love where, yes, I love you, but you can't continue doing this thing. It's hurting us, it's hurting you, it's hurting everybody around you. It means tough love. I dare you to explore unconditional acceptance to that person who you have struggled to see change. I dare you, as a parent, that child who is so disobedient and rebellious, try unconditional love. Usiache kumwekea vikwazo. Ati daddy ukifanya hivi ndio nitakufanyia hivi, hapana. Just love them. Tell them whether you do what I've told you to do or not, I love you daddy. I love you my daughter. Give them unconditional positive regard. My dear. Give them unconditional positive regard. Don't continue giving them pressure. Don't continue putting demands on them that for me to help you, you must change like this, you must do like this. Try unconditional acceptance, unconditional love. Have an unconditionally loving year, and may your life change. May your life of your loved ones change. Thank you. God bless you.